This is Boxing Tickets NI. We're joined with British Super Featherweight champion Anthony Cacace.
How's it going, Steve?
All's good, Anto, yourself?
All good, mate. All good.
Fantastic, glad to hear. Anto, obviously I want to start first of all by probably saying an overdue well done. It's obviously been quite a while now since your fight with Sam Bowen, November of last year in Birmingham.
Yeah, late November, November 30th. Something like that. It's been a long time, already. I've no defences made yet, but that's the way things are going, with this lockdown, coronavirus and stuff. But hopefully be out soon enough here now.
I think, it's probably give you a bit more time to reflect on things. I know you've obviously had another child at the start of the year, so probably lockdown's been good to you in a way. It's given you more family time.
Yeah, well, that's it. Basically, we just had a young baby just there after Christmas, so it kind of worked well for me because I was able to help out with whatever, help out with the baby and whatever else. But yeah, give me extra time to do whatever.
Definitely, I was always an extended congratulations, or sometimes probably unlucky that another child you run about with.
Yeah.
So what do you sort of remember of the Bowen fight? I know your sort of inkling afterwards was I was only at 50%. Can you remember much of the Bowen fight? Were you probably too critical of yourself then, or?
Well, I'm always super critical of myself. So no, it was a good fight. Bowen's a good fighter. I just know that I've got more in me, and I believe that fighting the best type of fighters will bring the best out in me. You know what I mean? So Bowen kind of worked to my advantage. He came at me the whole time, and he made it easier for me. But that was a good win, and Bowen's a strong lad, and I've all the respect in the world for him.
I think we've seen obviously afterwards, the respect was genuine there.
Yeah.
I think it's probably been one of the best nights, we've been at ourselves,
Yeah.
in terms of being there ringside and taking it all in and seeing obviously how much it meant to you. Particularly obviously, second time around, obviously having to win the British title, after the Ward fight. So I guess it was making up for what you didn't do the first time around.
I think so. The Martin J. Ward fight broke my heart. I wasn't myself there. I boxed southpaw for 12 rounds. I'm not a southpaw fighter. So I had a lot of regret from that fight, and I says to myself, I'm going to go in here and empty the tank and, make sure there's no stone left unturned and get in and do the job, you know what I mean? I was ready for anything, He would have had to hit me as hard as he could and keep hitting me as hard as he could that night because I was ready and willing to go,
Whatever it took.
Whatever it took, yeah.
Yeah, because I think the one thing is you don't want to have regrets afterwards and knowing that you've been so close before once that you don't want to be doing the same thing again.
Well, that's it. See, I came home after that fight and Jesus, it broke my heart. It's all I could think about, was I questioning myself, what was I doing? Boxing southpaw for 12 rounds and what was I thinking? And I didn't want that happening again to me, so I just made sure to try and do everything right, and I did everything I think perfect for the way I had it planned, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't stand in front of a guy like that who's just strong, come forward fighter, and he's always throwing punches. Oh, I was making it hard, dropping down low, making angles, and I think I done everything well enough, considering,
Definitely, as I say it, and it's finally great to see obviously pick up, the title you've won it. Obviously, you're coming up now. Well, you actually are over 8 years as a pro. You made your debut on the 25th of February 2012. Devonish.
In the Devonish, yeah.
In the Devonish. So obviously, when you first started out in 2012, you fought 6 times in your debut year. Obviously, then moving forward, twice 2013, twice 2014, 3 times in 2015, which ended with spectacular knockout of Ronnie Clark. Then you'd obviously a couple more fights in 2016 and 2017. Then obviously leading into 2 fights last year. So you've had a bit of ring inactivity. Mm-hmm. So obviously lockdown probably hasn't helped in the respect of getting you back out and getting you active and moving forward. So, what have you sort of made of your career so far? Have you sort of wish you'd have done things differently sooner, or?
No, well, I started out pro, when I turned pro in 2012, I started out with a great team. Started out with the late Paul McCulloch. He guided me well, as you can see anyway, you know, at 6 fights in the 1 year. The whole gym was buzzing off each other. The first 2 years of my career were great. I loved them, you know what I mean, they're my favourite too. So yeah, 6 fights in the first year, and I thought that maybe, you know, my career was going to continue like that and push me forward quicker. But it's professional boxing and it's a business, and it's not like the amateur days. You know, I'll fight him and whatever. You know, you'll fight anyone and just hope for the best. But now it seems to be, you know, about making moves. You know, trying to work people into different positions to box for these titles. If you're going to turn pro, this is now what you have to expect. Really, like, it's a tough game. You don't always get what you want. Majority of the time, you never get what you want, really, you know. But I'm happy enough in my career. I know I've been inactive a lot, but that's just the way things have been. And now, hopefully, I've got this title and I've got the backing of Frank Warren. I'll not be as inactive as soon as all this comes back to normal.
I think it's like life nearly in general, you know. Look, can you really do things? Life happens the way it is, and you just have to deal with what it is. Not everybody's going to be fed with a silver spoon all the time.
No, well, that's it. I mean, I was lucky enough to have them first 2 years with such good people and to drive my career the way I wanted it to be at that time and give me a good kickstart. But this is, as I say again, this is boxing, and I wasn't as lucky to hold on to that. That's it, really.
Yeah, it was. So you sort of touched there on obviously signing with Frank Warren. You signed with Frank Warren the 13th of March before obviously all the lockdown stuff kicked in. Is signing with Frank Warren actually give you a bit more belief and confidence you can still achieve your dreams in boxing?
Well, I've always believed I could do what I could do, but I think it's took me to. Now I know there's someone there with TV that's backing me and it's going to get my name out there a wee bit more. So that's a great move because I've never had that really, like, you know. So I believe that Frank and with Frank's stable that he has now, you know, there's plenty of super featherweights kicking about there who I'm right there for any of them, whoever they are. Let's go, really. You know what I mean? I'm not getting no younger. I was 32 in February here, so I've got to make some moves now. So yeah, signing with Frank was great, especially at this time. So we'll see what he can do.
Definitely is, and I'd say you sort of touched on the fact that he's quite a lot of super featherweights in the stable. Obviously, none more so than your next opponent, Liam Woodstock. Yeah. Obviously, the fight was supposed to happen at the start of lockdown, but you've actually had some mouth issues. How's the mouth?
Well, it's all good now. I'm back in the gym. I'll just explain about the mouth. I was having a bit of problems before the Bowen fight. Toothaches and stuff, you know, my back teeth. Fizzy drinks don't help. So I was having a bit of problems anyway, and I went to the dentist at an abscess on both sides, and the dentist didn't want to leave it any longer, so he took them out with the infection there in as well. You know, they needed to get taken out anyway. So he took them out, and all was good for a wee while, and then I got an infection in my gums, and I had already taken 2 antibiotics for the infections beforehand, so I couldn't take another one, so I just had to suffer it out and get it seen to and get it sorted, and all's good itself now.
Fantastic. Good news, obviously, it's healing. So, you know, you're sort of, I know from the press yesterday, Frank has announced 3 new fight dates, the 12th of September, 26th of September and the 10th of October. Yeah. Are you sort of hoping to get back out in one of them shows then, are you?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I mean, I'm hoping for the 10th of October. That would give me plenty of time to get in shape. I'm already in shape, but to get in sparring, and obviously things haven't been normal with this virus kicking about and stuff, and sparring hasn't been there, so it would give me that extra bit of time to get in and to get moving about a wee bit more, you know. So yeah, 10th of October suits me, but any one of them does really.
Definitely does. And I guess obviously the one thing that a lot of fans want to go and watch it, but the good thing I guess with lockdown is not a lot of shows have been clashing, so you may get more people tuning in that probably haven't seen, or success sometimes brings new people in to follow the name, you know. So now you're British champion, you probably have more people looking for autographs and, you know, tuning in to watch your fight, so it's probably a good time for you to get back in the action.
Yeah, well, well, since I won a title, there's a lot more interest in me, obviously, because I mean, I have never won a title at that magnitude before. But yeah, it feels good, yeah, to have this title and for to have that wee bit of interest behind me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking like the names like Frampton and all here are well above me at the minute. Do you know what I mean? But you know, that's who I aspire to be. Like I would like to get to that stage before the end of my career, and I know I have the tools to get there. Do you know what I mean? So we'll hopefully get this fight out of the way. Not looking past anyone. I'm training very hard for Woodstock and concentrating on him. But I'll get this done. Well, I hope all goes well and continue to move forward. You know, maybe an Archie Sharp fight after, and for some sort of eliminator for a world title.
You sort of led me sort of straight on to my next questions. It was nearly as if you've known them in advance. So, I sort of tagged you in something last night. IFL put an interview out with Archie Sharp and Dennis McCann, and it's probably right in saying that Sharp seems to be overlooking you. He's sort of been calling out Shakur Stevens, Oscar Valdez, Carl Frampton, you know, all the top names in the division, and you know, not being disrespectful of him, but you know, he hasn't even won a British title, and he's looking to fight world-class fighters. You know, is it probably wrong of him to be probably disrespecting you, the fact that you're the British champion, he hasn't won the British title, you're in the same stable, let's get it done?
Well, if you ask me, like, Archie Sharp is a good fighter, you know what I mean? He seems a dead on lad as well, and he wants the best for his career. That's all good, but yeah, what you're saying, I think he's I think it's a WBO European title. He's got very, very fortunate to be where he is, to be honest with you. And to be looking for them type of names, it's hopeful for him, you know what I mean? Why not? Why not call these fellas out, you know? But I think he needs to come down to earth a wee bit and catch himself on a small bit, and let's see, why not box for a decent title? WBO European, it's a good title to have, but fight me and we'll see what happens, you know? Fight me for the British title, and then we'll see what happens. If you beat me, then call out them big names, no problem, you know. But he's very fortunate to be number 4, you know, and just let him keep doing what he's doing. I'm sure that our paths will cross pretty soon.
Yep, and as I say, it's sort of sometimes building the foundations. I guess probably none more so than, you know, probably normally a fellow rival. Now he's moved up is James Tennyson. He's been there, probably won nearly every title. I think he's the 4th person from Northern Ireland to have won the Triple Crown. You know, when you think of all the names been through boxing, and if he wins a world title, he'll be the first person from the UK ever to do it. So it's building the foundations, building the blocks in place, and Sharp nearly seems to be ignoring putting the foundations down properly and trying to look straight at world title.
Well, that's what it is. I'll just touch on James Tennyson for a second. I mean, James Tennyson has come from St Kevin's Hall, all these small hall shows, built himself up brilliantly. You know, all I can say is fair play to him, Mark Dunlop, Tony Dunlop and the team. Is you know, that's what I call a team. You know, stuck together, stuck to their guns, and he's producing. He's an absolute beast. He can punch like a machine. I mean, I can't see James Tennyson not winning a world title, and that team's too perfect not to win a world title. I'm rooting for them all, to be honest. But yeah, Archie Sharp should be looking to do something like that. You know, he's WBO European title. I know Frank has got involvement there, but is he ready for the likes of these boys? Like, you know, if I'm looking at the likes of Frampton, you know, I say Frampton would stop him. You know, Jamal Hurry, stop him. I mean, I don't think he's ready. You know, and I'm judging this more off past fights. You know, I watched him against Declan Garrity, and you know, saying that Declan Garrity is very good fighter. His chin let him down a few times, but other than that, he's a class act.
I think he'd won pretty much every round, other until he got caught with a punch.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, Sharp's not the sharpest. So, I mean, I believe that I do him. He's perfect for me. So. That's the one I want.
It'd be another good defence of obviously the title, or you know, I think he just dropped out of the WBO rankings. You know, obviously it could have been potentially seen as some sort of eliminator for a title. I think he just dropped out of the top 15 with Carl moving up.
Yeah.
So obviously it could have been good news on that front. But obviously defend your British title against him, gives...
What do rankings really mean, I mean, when I fought Sam Bowen, who was number 7 to the WBO, what, I don't get ranked, I don't take his ranking. What do they really mean? So, it is what it is, do you know what I mean? It's funny, boxing's a funnier game, but it would be good to be in with these top boxers who have held titles.
Definitely. I know we're only, obviously one of your former teammates is fighting tomorrow night, Carl Frampton. Obviously, yourself and him and Conrad and Jamie were sort of Irish flag bearers for a while. Obviously, we're all in the same stable and building things up. What have you made of I guess, the last couple of years of Carl? Sort of looking on social media, sometimes you can see more negatives than anything, but a lot of people seem to write him off. He's over the hill, he's done.
Absolutely not. No, I don't. None of that. I don't think he's over the hill. I don't think anything like that. He's still producing the goods. He's still looking good. I know how hard he hits. I know how strong the fella is. So I mean, I believe he can win a world title at super featherweight. If he keeps training away, and he will. So no one should be overlooking Carl Frampton. No one.
Probably the worst.
These guys a class act.
Probably the worst thing somebody could do is to overlook Carl. I think somebody had said. Since the Santa Cruz loss, he hasn't been himself. But the Nonito Donaire fight.
But should they say that about everyone in boxing? One loss and you're over the hill. But it's a lot of crap. Because at any stage, you know what I mean. You know what you got, and I know everyone knows what Carl's got. So I believe he won a world title at super featherweight. And
what do you think it'll do for boxing? For us to finally have a 3-weight world champion.
Again, it would bring having a world champion in the country. Hopefully bring big shows to Belfast. And the likes of myself and whoever else gets on it, and Tennyson and whatever. But it would be brilliant, not just for the Irish boxing, but for him. I'd like to see him do that. You know what I mean? It would be exceptional.
I think he could have sort of retired. The money he's made in boxing. If he didn't have that drive and ambition to be a 3-weight world champion, he could have just packed it in and won. I've won 3 world titles, 2 weight divisions, seas. But he wants to get down in history.
Yeah.
Probably very critical himself, where he probably doesn't think he's been. Mm-hmm. The best boxer. I think he named Steve Collins or something. I think is a number 1 over the last 30 years. Yeah. We'd put up a thing for the top 20 over the last 30 years, and I don't think he'd even ranked himself in there. But he wants to get down in history.
Carl being Carl, he's right up there with them boys. What he's done for Belfast, not just with boxing, but plenty of other things. Is amazing. You know what I mean? I think he's a class act, and I genuinely believe he's going to win a title at super featherweight and bring boxing back here.
It's nearly giving me chills thinking about it. Obviously, Jamie and Marco's obviously since retired of being former teammates. Have you found it strange that Jamie ever give anything away as if he was going to get into fighter management, or did you ever see that? People always sometimes say when they were teammates with somebody, I could always see that in them. Did you ever think Jamie would go into fighter management?
Whenever I was with McGuigan's, I was never really with Jamie. I've actually never really trained around Jamie before. You do know what I mean? But mm-hmm. Jamie he's another great fighter, and he's doing well now with MTK, and I hope that continues.
Definitely is, and as I say, it's keeping it within, I guess somebody that's been there and done it and staying in the sport is obviously a good thing.
Yeah. It's sad to see wee Marco gone, you know what I mean? He was always a very hard trainer and a quality fighter, do you know what I mean? He'd be missed, and he always brought the crowds to the fights and brought the buzz, but I believe he'd be missed at these big shows too.
And after a devastating knockout at Declan Geraghty, you're sort of going, are we going to now start?
Well, that's boxing. It's a dangerous game. You know what I mean? He could have went on there from that fight and got a couple of big fights, and your health, your wealth, and you got to look after yourself and your kids and your family. And the best thing that he done was retire, because it's not worth it.
No, it's not, especially for the money that's involved.
Exactly. I
was sort of given this question to ask you. How was sparring Josh Taylor and Anthony Crolla?
That was great. That was a great experience. Well, I sparred Josh Taylor whenever he was just turning pro over in the McGuigan's with some great spars. You know what I mean? It was brilliant. Obviously, he's a world-class technician. I mean, the speed and accuracy of this guy is ridiculous. Yeah, so I always knew Josh was gonna go to where he is. I always knew that for day that as soon as he came down to the gym. And the likes of Crolla, he's an absolute gentleman with plenty of talent, and I enjoyed it. They're memories that I'll never forget. I were over there. I went over to spar Crolla for the Linares fight. Tried to give him everything I could, and I got invited back. So I enjoyed it. They were good spars and something I'll always remember.
And those sort of left, and those sort of taken it away from your name, but Crolla sort of left a lasting memory, and obviously Manchester boxers. It's, he's done everything he wanted to do in boxing, and sort of left in his own timing. Got himself nearly like a final farewell in the Manchester arena as well. So,
well, another thing is Crolla's made his money, and for me that's a smart move. Come into the game, win a world title the way he done, and he deserved it. He's been kicking around now for years, beating good fighters as well. Made his money. He's going to look after his family now and retire a happy man. Maybe not have to work or whatever else, but that's an ideal. That's ideal.
And you can always tell the family the rest of his career he probably boxed one of the best boxers we're ever going to see in Lomachenko.
Exactly. One of the pound for pound greatest, without a doubt.
And I think Lomachenko probably, the way people look at Muhammad Ali now, they probably look at Lomachenko in years to come and go, you know what, for the first few years I'm not even going to box, I'm going to dance.
Yeah.
Because that'll just set a trend that people don't box anymore.
He's a sick man. He's a sick man. His movement is unbelievable. Everything that he does is unbelievable. Even watching his training, I'd be fascinated. What he's doing, and it's insane. And he's insane, but he's insanely good. So it's ridiculous.
It's a hard sort of person to box. You're sort of 1 week you're watching the TV, the next thing in the ring with him, you're going, Loma, where are you? You're sort of.
How do you nail a guy down like that? How do you work it out? You just try and box him. Campbell tried to box him. No, it didn't work. They try and fight him. There's been fighters that have tried to fight him. They get out fought. He is exceptional, and he should go down in the history books without a doubt. Unbelievable.
Sort of like it's going out on a drink with lads, and somebody does a Houdini because it's a round. That's what Lomachenko sort of describes as. It's like
100%.
Where did you go?
100%. That's exactly what it's like.
You've always had a wee bit of back and forth recently with it's pronouncing this name right. I think it's Alex Dilamagi. Who's obviously, he fights Sami Sayani, I think it's the 5th of September, and he said, if I win this fight, he wants you next, and you both sort of said, let's get it on. Yeah,
Alex, he's a good fighter. He was doing a bit of slobbering on Twitter. I love that, slobber as much shit. I think I had a few good ones actually. But if he can slew this fight and wins this European title, why not? Do you know what I mean? Well, all going well with myself, of course. I love to get in box with them often, to be honest.
I think you're
just for Twitter.
I think your unofficial manager, Colin, has always been very good in your career. He's sort of been tagging in sort of things to get you fights. So
Colin's a man. Colin gets the ball rolling on Twitter. He's a fan, but he's more than a fan. He's class, you know what I mean. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, and he's been around boxing a long time as well. And he's a bit of a part-time manager.
He is, and he sort of wanted me to ask a question. They say, when's he going to get his 10% of the deals he's doing?
I've nothing left anymore.
But he sort of helped us a wee bit and stuff as well. At times with information and things, because sometimes people think because we're following the sport of boxing that we know everything of what we're doing. So it's good to have something like Colin there in the background where we're going, I'm going to put this out. I want to make sure the information's right, because the last thing you want to do is put something that's wrong. So
Colin knows the stuff, and he's a man. He knows it. Lots from back in the day. He comes off of some of his tweets on Twitter. He's a historian. He knows his boxing and his football. So he's a man you want to see if you need to know something.
I think he said he's in retirement from boxing, and before your fight with Sam Bowen, he said the only reason he was going to come out of retirement if you got a fight in Belfast. Now you haven't fought in Belfast in over 5 years.
No, for Christ's sake, it's melting, to be honest. But see, these defences are my first defence. This was meant to fight be in Belfast. It's just really disappointing because it's not. You know what I mean? And I've never got show the Belfast crowd what I can do, and I know it would lift me that extra bit, you know, being at home. And you know, it's not, my mum could come down, my dad, everyone could come down, and it's not a big journey away for everyone. It would be great.
And you sort of touched on that, your first defence was supposed to be on the Frampton Heron card in Windsor Park.
Well, that was it, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? If I was to get annoyed about that all the time, I'd be constantly annoyed, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, at least I'm fighting. I'm just happy to be back and getting the opportunity to get back in to do this.
Windsor Park, probably our greatest memory, you know, of obviously of us been going. I think it was our first real big show we done, and you know, I don't think we'll probably ever sell as many tickets for boxers as we did in that show again, unless Windsor happens again.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
So obviously we did sort of touch a bit on James Tennyson. You know, did you catch his fight with Gavin Gwynn the other week?
I did. I won a few pound on him as well. I had James Tennyson to knock him out in the 6th, and I had the knockout as well. Obviously, you know, I knew, you know, not taking nothing away from Gavin. He's a top fighter, but lightweight, I think he's, you know, the weight suits Tini. You know, he can absorb the body shots more. He just walked through him, didn't he? I thought he just walked through him, and Gavin's meant to be a technician. So I mean, when he steps up a level, I believe that he's got the beating of Patera as well. I'm not too sure if he's still the European champion, is he?
Yeah, he
is.
is.
Still
Patera. I think Eddie had mentioned that he was looking at some international belt for Patera, or maybe a fringe world title, but he was on about Patera, and he was on about Linares, was it, for...
Yeah, well, Linares and Patera are a bit out of question at the minute, because obviously he can't be bringing in foreign boxers, but obviously he's being hopeful for him, do you know what I mean? And why not? Because he deserves to be mentioned with names like that. But
particularly when he's fought in most of his career was, you know, fair play to Mark Dunlop. You know, if he didn't have the small hall shows.
Mark Dunlop's a man of this country. He runs this place. If you ask me, like, you know what I mean, he is building fighters up. He's not even my own. He's nothing to do with me, but I'll still give it. He deserves his props. Do you know what I mean? He's doing brilliant. He's bringing everyone. He's taking everyone to this next level. I used to be honest with you, I used to think, you know, I wanted something bigger and try and, you know, but maybe that's one of my mistakes in my career, that I didn't get him a Mark Dunlop. He's doing very well for himself, and he's like Tommy McCarthy fighting for a European title. As you know, inactivity and all before, you know, Tommy had his inactivity in his career, and it seems to be as soon as you go to Mark, he pulls big strings and you're there. Look at Eric Donovan tonight, and I'm absolutely rooting for him, I swear to God, and he's definitely got the beating the bar 100%, and I'm buzzing to watch that one. But in terms of Mark Dunlop, he's a man.
The magic man.
The magic man.
You know, I think Eddie had actually said that Mark tortures him flat out. But if that's what it gets, and it gets your fighters exactly what you want for them, then he's doing an amazing job.
Of course he's doing an amazing job. Keep torturing him, do you know what I mean? If I ever Mark Dunlop, I'd be badgering him, be on the phone, you know, leaving him missed calls all day long. And I'm sure he is, because that's the type of man he is. He loves boxing.
Definitely is. And I say with Tommy and James Tennyson, he's always had it there.
And there's a lot of other fighters too, you know.
Yeah.
He's just taking them to the next level and getting them opportunity after opportunity.
Definitely is. I guess obviously for some people probably may not know, where did the Apache nickname come from?
It came from Barry McGuigan. When I joined the McGuigan camp, I never wanted to be the, you know, I cringe out when I'm making up a name for myself. I don't know, it's just the type of person I am, and I can never change it. But so I let them give me the name, and the Apache, Cacace, it all matched perfect. You know what I mean? But that's where it originated from.
And obviously, it's more of a reference of like a fighting type helicopter. So
or you know, an Apache Indian, whatever. I don't know.
Whatever way to go.
I mean? Just sounds good with the name.
Because I know that obviously Carl always said that, you know, nobody's hit him as hard as you have. You know, I think he said the same with James Tennyson and stuff as well. But he said, I can remember him a few times saying that nobody's hit him harder than you have. So probably it's more into do with the fighting helicopters.
Possibly. Well, my knockout ratio is not the greatest, I think. What have I got?
18-1 with 7 knockouts.
I had 7 knockouts, you know. I can tell you firsthand. Like, I mean, I've been lazy a lot, you know. If I can cruise a fight, things are changing now and have changed. If I can cruise a fight, I always just cruise through the fight, you know, pick them off, whatever, I win the fight. At the start of my career, I should have been in and trying to take them out from the very start, but I didn't. But it looks good for me, you know, not having that many knockouts, and I know how hard I can hit, you know what I mean? I don't need anyone to tell me, really, but hopefully, I think it may serve me well in the future.
One of your knockouts, and I know we shared like a montage of your fights recently, but you had a fight, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. You'll know obviously the mention in a minute, but you actually had an opponent a body punch and he was actually being sick. He's dry being sick.
Yeah. I was with McGuigan's at the time. I flew it. It was a Hungarian journeyman. He was actually a welterweight, and I was obviously super featherweight, but I think I weighed in that fight over 10 stone. You know, it was. But I remember that well. I hit him the body shot, and actually we had a couple of laughs at it after. He's actually a lovely guy. I have him on Facebook. He would send me an occasional message and like my stuff and stuff. So, but yeah, it was a funny one.
I think whatever was making it, 'cause I'd never seen the clip before, and you know, you sort of hurt him to the body, and you could see he's like sort of dry booking, and then they're like, I'm just going in for the kill and just stopped him, man. You know.
Well, that was it. That was good. That was a quick one before. There was. I think I had a fight coming up not too long after that, to be honest. I'm not too sure, but there was definitely just a run out.
I think was it maybe I'm just looking at it. Obviously, when I do upload this, I'll obviously tag who it is so people can see the reference to it. But I'm making it think as if it's Lakatos.
Aye, Caroli Lakatos.
Just before the Ronnie Clark fight.
Yes, that must have been it. But it was a wee tune-up before getting in and fighting for, I think, maybe Ronnie Clark. Yeah.
Yep. So obviously, definitely, if anybody's looking at it and looking for a funny sort of stoppage, that's the one to look at.
It wasn't the greatest performances, no fairness, but it was a funny stoppage, you know.
Definitely was. Sort of touching a bit on Irish boxing. We've obviously seen, you know, we had our first NTK show the other night, and we've obviously had Tenny fighting. What have you been making? You know, the last few years, I know a lot's been put on MTK, but quite a lot of Irish boxers are in boxing and they're doing very, very well. What is it about Irish boxing that just, you know, it's a different grade?
We're all just unbelievable. I'm only joking. No, it's just that we've got dedicated coaches, you know, and the standard of our amateur team, which most of us have been through as well, is top notch. As you see, they go away everywhere, and now they're medaling everywhere. It's like the new freaking Cubans. They're unbelievable. We've all been through that program, and we've learned a lot through it, and everybody else is in tune with this program, and I think that it's working, and all our fighters are just top quality, I believe. Top quality.
Paddy Gall actually touched on that on Monday as well, an interview we done with him as well. He was sort of saying, you know, that with a high performance team they have now, and obviously Jamie and Mick's Fowler involved with it, that it's only going to keep getting better, and the standard of Irish boxing is going to keep growing and growing and growing. So I've always kept saying in tweets and stuff that we have at Belfast, it's the capital city of boxing, you know, and it's only going to get stronger.
It's home of boxing, like, you know, in the UK. Where else compares to it? Nowhere. We're running the show. Belfast is running the show, and that's just the way it is, and hopefully it continues.
And we obviously seen Sean McComb in action the other night. He's not even a pro. 2 years. He'll be a pro 2 years in a few days' time, but he's boxed 11 times. You know, and that's even with a few months of lockdown there as well.
And he's boxed at a decent level too. You know, they've been moving him quick. Well, Sean's done everything he asked him, and he's looked unbelievable doing it. It's another guy I tip for big things. I believe that he'll be a world champion if he continues to be motivated, and which I know he will, because that's him. So I tip him heavily for to win a world title.
And it's actually his 28th birthday today as well.
And he's only a youngster too. He's flying.
What did you see his ring walk the other night?
Aye, the chicken dance. Loved it. It was hilarious. I actually caught it back on Twitter after. That was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I think everybody's going to use it sort of as exposure to give themselves.
He's a man. He loves all that. You know what I mean? I could never picture myself coming out to something like that, but it's entertaining, and I love to watch it. And I
think he was saying the referee fingered his eyeball as well in the ninth round.
I've actually seen that on Twitter. There's a couple of people asking me what happened with McComb's eye. I didn't really catch the fights. Do you know what I mean? I just watched back. I couldn't explain. I didn't know what happened with his eye, but then he came on the next day and he came off that. Well, it was funny. It was funny. It was funny. He's a funny man.
He definitely is. And they say bang, 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 gravy chip. I think he's actually he's getting Manny's chip shop are going to. They're seriously considering having a bang, bang, gravy chip.
So they should. Why shouldn't it? You know what I mean? They should get the bang, bang, whatever chip. Get it done. You know what I mean?
What would you like them to name after you in the menu?
I don't know. That's an awkward one. I don't know.
That was sort of a question that's really off topic, but I'm sure we could think of something. You know, there's something that you like, sort of. You know,
pizza. Pizza. He does the pizzas. Well, I used to.
The Apache pizza.
Apache pizza. There you go. I'm going to be an RB sponsor
on. We're obviously 12 days away from another serious prospect in the country, Lewis Crocker, fighting for his first title. What have you made of Lewis' career?
I trained beside Lewis with D. Walsh and Raymond Guinea for a while. Lewis, he's another serious talent. That's what I'm saying. Is Belfast just produces ridiculous talents, and Lewis is a man. He can punch. He's great variety. He has punches. You know what I mean. He mixes it up. He can take a punch. Another guy who's going to do well in his career, and. That's just a wee stepping stone for him here in a bit, and I think he's going to win this fight.
Serious power and serious speeding, and I think
more power. No, well, both together, but that he can punch. That boy, he can punch.
And I think
body punch, head punch, wherever you want.
I think we D train him now as well. As obviously, you know, D probably regrets of leaving the sport when he did. He made it for his right decisions for himself, but you know, D is more of sees himself as a defensive master, so if he can add a bit more defence to Lewis's game, you know, defence is the best form of attack, so
well, that's it.
He's only going to get better.
I mean, Lewis has got the power and the speed, you know, with him teaming up with D, and that's been going on a while, hasn't it now? Not too sure, a while now. I think D can add to his boxing 100%. Sharpness, you know, shot selection. He's always had a very good shot selection himself. I've been watching them on the pads and stuff, and they're looking like they're gelling perfectly. So I mean, I expect Crocker stoppage.
And
for his boxing and his defence to be on point.
We've obviously another couple of boxers obviously fighting. We've Gary Cully.
Exceptional talent again. Not from Belfast, but I'll give him his dues, you know.
Definitely. We probably didn't see the best of Joe Fitzpatrick in the fight with Cully.
No, we didn't. It was very unlucky. He just caught early. You know, I know what Joe can do. And Joe's, you know what I mean, I've shared plenty around sparring with Joe, and he gives me all I want. So it's just unlucky.
Just boxing. It's boxing, isn't it? Sometimes you just don't, you know.
Inactivity as well, and not being as active. You know, Cully has been rattling him out left, right, and centre. Do you know what I mean? He's getting well managed and looked after.
Mm-hmm.
But boxing's funny how it came. I think
Joe will definitely come back.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
And obviously then we've another Belfast banger at the start of September, Paddy McCrory.
One of the proper gentlemen, yeah.
The Hammer.
The Hammer.
And I think some of them call him Big Purple as well.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think we'll ask too much on people's opinions on what Big Purple's supposed to mean. I
don't know what that means, but I can imagine.
I think that sort of cuts it, you know. So say obviously fingers crossed we're going to have, you know, fight news very pending with, you know, the Leon Woodstock fight getting rearranged. Anything else you want to cover in the interview? I know you've had some new sponsors recently.
Yeah, a couple of sponsors come on board. As everyone knows, but then every boxer knows, you know, it's very hard to do this without sponsors because, you know, it's a full-time job really. You have to go to the gym in the morning. If you have kids, if you have family, you kind of got to struggle through getting home and trying to live a family life as well when you know you're exhausted and whatever else, or else you've got a job and you've got to go to work and go train at night. Our sponsors have come on board with me and helped me out. It can take my game to another level because I don't have to go to work. You know, I've been working doing gardening. Been trying to be. You know, this is my friend Michael Hawkins. He'd help me out and call me, right, I've got a day's work here for you, or else my army mate, he's a painter and decorator, Mark, he would give me a wee shout, you know, the day's work here for you. Alright, it's nice of them and all to try and help me out, but I would like to be able to concentrate on boxing and be able to go to the gym flat out, and it's great. I've got on Cozy Roof. It's a big firm in Belfast. Obviously having nutrition by Colette Campbell, who's an amazing shop. Food or grub speaks for itself, it's amazing. I got cleaning company. I've got a good couple of Nicos looking after me. I got DMC Heaton. That's a local guy who actually used to be in the same year as me in school. Daniel McMahon, he just, but that's, I love to see that, you know what I mean, is that he would like to help me out and come on board and get his business, you know, on my shorts or t-shirts, or whatever, in any way, any sort of, you know, I love that there, and without the sponsors being on board, I couldn't be where I am, really, you know.
So the sort of casual that's sort of on social media seem to think all boxers are millionaires, you know, we had actually planned this interview the other week, but you actually had to go to work, you know, so not everybody has that luxury of being a full-time boxer.
Not everybody has that luxury. I've been very fortunate with that, you know what I mean. Beforehand I had people help me out and all, but then for the last couple of years I was stuck with just having to work and come boxing, but I'm not going to complain about it. It is what it is.
And if there's any potential sponsors obviously out there, they obviously know how they can get in touch with you. Even if they want to get in touch with themselves, we can pass them on to you.
100%.
You know.
I'd just like to thank every one of my sponsors as well, because as I explained before, it's taken a big weight off my shoulders.
Definitely is. Anything else you want to add to the interview?
No, that's me. That's 100%. Just thank you very much for coming up to the gym and sorting it out for me.
Not a problem. Well, thanks very much, and obviously, fingers crossed you fight new soon.